taking over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
I love how Carver High is so into golf. Like, you think he was playing. I mean, my man is like putting his fist up in the air when guys make putts. And like, he's like out there playing or something. Like he's at the Cape Cod Irish Open. I mean, I don't know what's happening. Secondly, I've also advised the crew of a new show I'm watching that's gory and violent and disgusting and repulsive and awesome at the same time. Sounds like my Howard 101 show, actually. It's Grotesque on FX. I have to give them a little juice here today, Carver High. I'm always trying to, Mafia and I always trying to help you with great quality viewing opportunities for you and Hot Nicole to bear down on a series. And this might be one of them. Very good, very disturbing, dark, and especially, as you know, creeping up on the month of Halloween, my favorite holiday, the scary month. And I'll never understand, Mafia, why they took that haunted house out of the area that we used to go to outside. That was scary as all hell. You go through there on a wagon, and they bring you back into the woods, and then you get off at a wagon and you're on your own, and you got to find your way out of the maze, and there's people jumping out of trees and scaring you and just making you edgy. You got to drink whiskey before you go to that haunted outdoor forest. I'm telling you, it's not safe in there. I love for Halloween, Carver High, scary shows, and golf in Canada.
Yes, the big fist pump was for Tagala, who hit his second shot from the 18th fairway and put it, I'd say, 2.5, 3 feet from the pin.
I see it.
So as long as he can nail that, I will nail Tagala and Morikawa. Little plus 210 live when they were down one on the front nine. So that's a nice hit that we can get as long as Tagala can make that putt. The U.S. is officially up 2-0. They have 2 points in. Of course, the Xander Finau Group won in 18 holes. And Scotty Scheffler and Russell Henley didn't even need the last couple holes, Scotty. They won 3-2 over Tom Kim and Sun Jae Im. So they are up 2 officially. And they have everyone leading on the course.
Internationally speaking, Carver High, I got to throw another shade of juice towards this morning. I'm driving, and I was taking Chop to school, and I heard as you know, I'm a huge fan of the Scots and Scotland, golfing, international, everything. And I heard this DJ on Sirius doing U2X radio and playing the great Scottish punk band Skids. Oh my God. I mean, the best DJ move I've seen on the radio in 25 years. This chick is a bass player from Dublin, and she was filling in, and she was playing. She had Lou Reed going. She had the Dirty Boulevard Lou Reed, and she busted out Skids from Scotland. I was skidding off the road. I was rocking out to the Skids. You haven't heard anything that good since you hung out and drank with Marky Ramone.
Unbelievable. Yes, we always love the Scots here on C2C. All right, we have college football tonight,
What?
Scotty. Not only do we have the Giants and the Cowboys at MetLife, if you head down the turnpike a little bit and head yourself into Philadelphia, you can go to the link and see Army against Temple tonight as well. Army minus 12.5, total 46.5. Army out to a 3-0 start. Temple stinks as always. What do you like tonight down at the link?
A lot about it. I bet it the daily double. I had I got Army laying the wood and then the over, because there is only one way Temple can be in this game, and that's by scoring, because Army is going to score on them. And they're 3-0. The Knights, the Cadets from West Point, one of the most beautiful places in America, West Point, in the woods with the stadium down by the river. They got to hit the trail, though, and go to filthy Philadelphia, to the stripper pole kingdom. the link for a little affair with the crappy Owls. Give me the Knights. Give me the over. Lay the wood. Everybody's happy. Free brisket.
If I was not in New York, I would be laying it with Army. And unfortunately, I'm in New York, which means I can't lay it with Army. But I would be laying it with Army if I was in New York. If I wasn't in New York, that's what I would be doing.
The worst idea ever created.
I know.
You know what's
Can't
so
bet
funny?
on.
Why in God's name does that make any sense to anyone? Is it religion? What is it? Is it blue laws? I don't get it. Like, who in New York and Jersey gives a rat's ass about church or not being able to gamble? Name one casino that you can't go in and lose your life savings in New York or New Jersey on a Saturday or a Sunday. And what are these stupid college rules? So the kids can play college football in Piscataway and make, $500,000 to $1 million per star player, but I'm not allowed to bet on the game. You're not allowed to bet on Army. Why? Because we pay for everyone's wars all over the world? Is that why? Because we pay for Israel's wars? That we pay for Ukraine's wars? We can't bet on Army tonight? Christ, they should let me bet on Army for free. The feds or whoever made up that stupid rule, the states, that backward-ass governor in New York, she needs to learn a thing or two about making money. She sure knows how to blow it.
Yep. No Army, no Syracuse, no St. John's, no Buffalo. None of that for me.
The mayor did it. He's guilty.
He did it.
First mayor ever indicted in New York City.
Yeah,
I love it between him and Trump. What is better in politics?
They're going after everybody. That's for sure. They're going after everybody.
I should be able to bet on college sports everywhere in America.
You, of course, talked to Chris Stewart earlier. He is the voice of Alabama. Alabama plays the game of the week Saturday night in Tuscaloosa against the Georgia Bulldogs. Of course, earlier in the week, we heard from Kalen DeBoer. Let's hear from Kirby Smart here today. He says, Scotty, of course, players come to Georgia and to Alabama for games like this. Big primetime matchup.
I really look at it like this is a hell of an opportunity for our kids, our program, national stage, and we're on the national stage a lot. We've been in the national stage a lot, especially the last 3 to 4 years. So it's the reason kids want to come to Georgia. They say, I want to play in games like that.
And
most viewed game 2 weeks ago Saturday night was our game. It's going to probably be that way this Saturday night. And when you start looking at it, kids want to have an opportunity to play in those tight games, and that's we're going to have more of them after this. So it's a great opportunity to play in a national stage, and that's what we built our program on is playing tough opponents.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that. And I think they're better. I think they're actually better than Alabama a little bit. And, I think they got jobbed because they won a game. They won a game and still dropped because they didn't score enough points. The people that do these polls, I mean, honestly, if I could get them together at the 19th hole and show you a picture of the people that do this voting, I mean, you were thinking like it's NerdWallet. The people that do these things, they should really get, cool people with drip. People having a few cocktails instead of these dorks that do the voting in the AP poll. Honestly, it's so embarrassing, that stupid poll every week. Thank God we talk about it, though, so I can make fun of it. I still think Georgia's better. And, what's weird is I hate them dead. I wish Alabama would beat them. But then again, I hate them, too. So I will be watching, though. So they got me right where they want me.
They do have you right where you want you on Saturday night. Of course, top 5 matchups. Underdogs haven't done well. Home underdogs, 28-42-1 against the spread since 1990 in this game. Alabama hasn't been a home dog since 2007, et cetera, et cetera. We'll come back. I promised you the 3 racks of ribs from yesterday. Oh. I'm going to give them back to you. What an awful miss by Bezuidenhout. Could have gotten that match even. Nothing going right for the international team here
what a shame.
In Montreal.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA. That being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Brian Dable has been feeling it. He's in a foul mood. He's having stare downs with Pat Leonard and everything else.
John Mara wants Brian Dable to go and get the next quarterback. They tried to get the next quarterback. We all watched it on Hard Knocks. They couldn't end up with Daniels. They couldn't end up with May. So they said, okay, we'll run it back a year. We'll go get Neighbors, and we'll tolerate.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
What I love about C2C, great show, by the way, every day, is that when we do racks of ribs, honestly, most shows, as you know, they all do the same thing. Like, we're going to come look at the games for Saturday. Look what we've got here for you, all of them on one screen. But what we prefer to do is lay out giant racks of ribs for everyone, covered in sauce. Give me the college football racks on a Thursday.
Yeah, I owed you these from yesterday, and we're probably going to do them again tomorrow, of course, because we always go back through every game on a Friday heading into the weekend. But let's at least dabble in these quickly. Here we go. Some of the early games on Saturday. Ole Miss has Kentucky coming in. So first SEC game for them, minus 17.5 at home. Michigan and Minnesota at the Big House. Oklahoma State and Kansas State both coming off bad losses last week. They're playing in the Little Apple. BYU off a big win is at Waco against Baylor. Indiana, home for Maryland, laying 6.5, looking to go 2-0 in the Big Ten.
I like the Hoosiers by a tutty. I like BYU. I like Kansas State in a big way based on their loss last week where they went sleepwalking. I think after what BYU did to them, they're going to do Oklahoma State. Remember, Oklahoma State had their chance last week at home, but they lost. And I think Minnesota's going to cover at the Big House because I think Michigan's going to have like speed dating night where they get the fat chick down at the pub. When they walk in, they're like, it's going to be a long night because they gave it all against USC. And I don't think they can go back to back and have a great game because I don't think they're great to begin with. And I think they could have a stinker. And 9 points to me is too much wood there. I think Ole Miss will beat Kentucky. And, I'm just going to say it. I think Kentucky's really good when they play in Lexington, and I think they're doable in the Grove at Oxford. I think Lane's team gets it done and wins by 21.
Last week, of course, USC played their first Big Ten road game at the Big House against Michigan. This week, their first Big Ten home game. They will have Wisconsin going out to Los Angeles at the Coliseum. We've got Oklahoma going to Auburn. Remember, they're starting the freshman quarterback. Hawkins this week, they're minus 2.5. Arkansas and Texas A&M, the annual game at Jerry's World. Of course, they play that in Dallas every year, the Hogs and the Aggies. Colorado makes the long trip to Orlando, Scotty. They'll be at the Bounce House. They're catching a lot of points, too. 14.5 in that one. And Texas, their first SEC game at home against Mississippi State, laying a monstrous number. And Sarkisian said today, Scotty, he still doesn't know who's going to start. He might start Ewers depending on his health or if Arch is going to start again.
Yeah, that is mind-blowing to me that he's going to go back to this guy. to be honest with you. You talk about, throwing dice. I mean, this guy is really rolling dice with this kid, Arch Manning. Like there's got to be somebody saying to him, you need to transfer because this guy's in love with this Ewers guy. And I don't deny Ewers is good, but Arch Manning's better. That's it. I cannot believe they would let him start playing and then you'd sit him back down again. Honestly, I think, Ewers has done it all and he's good and he's great. He's done it all, but he's never won it. And this kid is better than him, and you're going to sit him down. They deserve whatever they get with that. I mean, play both of them how about they switch every play? Maybe they'll try that next. They'll still kick Mississippi State's ass because the Bulldogs are god-awful. I think 14.5 is too many to give Colorado at Central Florida. It's just too much when you got a good quarterback on the other team. I don't care how bad the rest of the team is. That guy Sanders, he can play. A&M will beat Arkansas at Kyle Field. And I think Oklahoma will win at Auburn. Auburn stinks. And I think Wisconsin stinks. USC is going to beat their ass on Saturday after losing to Michigan. Remember, Wisconsin, Luke Fickell, the most overrated coach in America, he lost his quarterback, and now he can't win a game. So where's his great coaching now? Honestly, I already heard he's tier 2, one of the best coaches in America, bar none. That's what he's been called, one of the best coaches. And he gets a problem and the ship goes down. I mean, does anybody got a life preserver? No one here is going to just let this boat sink. He's letting it sink. I mean, they lost Van Dyke. He sucked to begin with. And now what are they going to play? Single wing? USC, have fun in L.A. Put your sunblock on. You're going to get your ass beat.
Last one, some of the later the night games for you. Ohio State heading to East Lansing against Michigan State this week. We have Stanford making the trip to Clemson. So remember, they went to Syracuse last week on a Friday night, beat the Orange. Now they're going to Clemson where they're getting a very heavy number. We've got Washington State and Boise State. I love that late night game out there between those two. That'll be a lot of fun. Arizona visits Utah. Oregon visits UCLA. Of course, that's now a Big Ten game, Oregon at UCLA.
Yeah, that's a lot of points for Oregon, to be honest with you, in my opinion. I think UCLA stinks, but they were tied in that game last week, whatever it was, 17-all. They lost, but I don't know, too many points for me. Utah will beat Arizona. I think at Rice Eccles easily. I think Boise's still the play. Clemson's still the play. And Ohio State's still the play to me. I know that game's at, Spartan Stadium, whatever. It's meaningless to me. They have no advantage there. That football program, they've always been the same. They're Purdue in green.
I love that Cougar team. They've been good to me here over the first few weeks. I'm taking them at Boise with those points. I love that Washington State squad. They've been a lot of fun, and I am going to back them. There you go. I'll have more games for you, of course, tomorrow on a Friday, heading into the weekend. I think we got a bunch of games tomorrow. Yeah, the U plays tomorrow night, right? We got Miami and Va Tech on a Friday night in college football. And Rutgers, Washington on Friday night in Piscataway. So you have that game as well that we will have to discuss. All right, we'll come back. Only 3 baseball games tonight, Scotty. But really all 3 of them have a little bit of significance. Of course, Minnesota needs to win. We'll talk about it. Yankees have lost the first 2 games to the Orioles. It's not official yet. They're still trying to win the AL East. Baltimore sweeps them. Yankees are going to have to beat the Pirates this weekend at the Bronx in order to win the AL East, Scotty. The Buccos.
I cannot believe what's happened to them against the Orioles, but I am certain of one thing. They're not losing to the Pirates.
No, maybe Skeens on Saturday. Might lose to him.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoff.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Brew Crew has already clinched the National League. Said they're 2 games behind LA. That being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Brian Dable has been feeling it. He's in a foul mood. He's having stare downs with Pat Leonard and everything else.
John Mara wants Brian Dable to go and get the next quarterback. They tried to get the next quarterback. We all watched it on Hard Knocks. They couldn't end up with Daniels. They couldn't end up with May. So they said, okay, we'll run it back a year. We'll go get neighbors, and we'll tolerate.
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The Beside the Hood adventure. What an absolutely piker job he did putting today. He just had a 7-footer to win the hole, and he literally stood over the putt for 5 minutes, and then he missed it by 4 inches to the right. I mean, literally, it was such a bad putt. 4 inches. That may have been worse than Adam Scott's putt, because I just told you, I was standing there going, this is an easy putt. What is he doing? He's just standing over it forever. Like, he clearly has the yips. He can't putt when it matters. There's money on the table.
I'll tell you, he had to have the hole before in his head, Scotty, because on 16, same thing. He was the only one close to the hole on the approach. He was the only one putting for a close birdie on 16 that would have tied this matchup, and he blew it. And they have the hole. So he gets the same situation here on 17. That is not a far out putt. And I'm watching it now. He still hasn't hit it. I mean, I'm still waiting to watch this putt that this guy hits. And nowhere close. So Bezuidenhout completely spooked out there with his putter, Scotty. And he cost him 2 holes. In theory, if this guy could putt, the Internationals would actually be up 1 going to 18. But this guy blew it. So now they're down 1 going to 18. And they're going to try to at least get themselves a half a point today if they can win the 18th hole, which they probably won't. All right, baseball for tonight. Only 3 games. Let's get into this here.
And his partner's putt was worse than his.
Yeah.
He shanked it left, Shankopotamus. My man did a curveball, a slider outside. He missed the hole by 4 feet.
No good for him. The Marlins and the Twins. Why don't we start there, Scotty? Of course, the Royals and the Tigers have already won this afternoon, so the Twins need to win tonight to stay within 2 games going into the last 3 games of the season this weekend. If they lose, they'll be in real bad shape. They'll be just about out. David Festa against Valente Belazzo. What'd you call this guy last week? Belazzo the Clown, when he started. Minus 265 for the Twins tonight, plus 215 for the Fish, and an 8.5.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. This ice-cold team is at 265? Is that what you just said to me?
Well, they won last night, so... they did win last night.
I got to tell you, I mean, honestly, like, I just have to go with Belazzo the Clown. I have to, just for the sheer sake of it. You're telling me I'm getting 210 at least if they win this game tonight. I mean, the Twins won last night. Festa Cheese, like, what am I worried about him? Festa Cheese. He's awful. He is awful. I mean, this guy gives up 5-6 runs a game. He never wins. Now, all of a sudden, you got to be kidding me. I almost fell over when you told me 265. I mean, Christ, what is it? Sandy Koufax going tonight? I'm not having it. Give me the stinky fish.
The Orioles are in the Bronx again against the Yankees. So the Yankees started this series with a magic number of 1 for the AL East, and they've lost the first 2 games of this series. The Orioles have Corbin Burns tonight. As we know, he has not been good. The Yankees have Garrett Cole tonight. I mean, has he been that great lately either? No. Minus 160 for the Yankees, plus $1.35 for the Birds, and an 8.5.
I got to take that plus money and they kick their ass. I mean, I almost fell over last night. It was whatever. What was it? 6-1, 7-1, 8-1. I couldn't. Yeah. It was 8-1 at one point, and I was like, they are kicking their ass in this series. Why not go with it again? I mean, the Yankees look like they're just waiting for the Pirates, and they don't obviously see what's just hit them in the face. The Orioles.
They do not see that. That's for sure. And finally, the Padres and the Dodgers. So the Padres and the Dodgers are both in, Scotty. We know that. But with the Dodgers winning last night, that means that tonight they can officially put a bow on the NL West and get themselves and put themselves ahead of the Phillies, I believe, for the first seed in the NL as well. Joe Musgrove and Walker Buehler, the pitching matchup. Dodgers minus $1.15, minus 105 for the Friars, and an 8.5.
The Friar faithful getting involved. Musgrove beats Buehler. Hey, you talk about Suckville. Your boy Walker Buehler. I mean, whatever happened to this guy? Honestly, he had surgery, remember? That's what happened to him, and he's never been the same. He gets roasted every time he pitches. He's worse than festive cheese. Your boy Buehler's what, 1-6? He goes up 7 runs a game. So give me the Friars and the over. And so the Dodgers don't clinch tonight. Why not? I hate the Dodgers. Why not?
And if the Dodgers did lose tonight, Scotty, they would be tied with the Phillies going into the last 3 games for the 1 seed. And listen, Phillies-Dodgers, if they meet, home field would probably be important between those two.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Root Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Brian Dable has been feeling it. He's in a foul mood. He's having stare downs with Pat Leonard and everything else.
John Mara wants Brian Dable to go and get the next quarterback. They tried to get the next quarterback. We all watched it on Hard Knocks. They couldn't end up with Daniels. They couldn't end up with May. So they said, okay, we'll run it back a year. We'll go get Neighbors, and we'll tolerate.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Yet from my proposal of I filed a grievance on Adam Caplan only being on 1 day a week. I've yet to receive any dialogue back from the powers that be. Apparently, they don't like me or something. I said that, for years we have set the table 3 days a week with the king of insider skinny. Adam Caplan, our NFL insider, joins us on Thursdays now, and it showed me how little juice I have here when they ignored me over Adam. But you can follow him on X at Caplan NFL, like millions of others do, for his inside knowledge of the game and all the players and owners, coaches, GMs, you name it. So here we go. Game 4, key game injury updates. Let's start with your, of course, Eagles. We have to start with them first because you're such a homer for the Eagles.
Yeah. Well, this is a 1:00 game in Tampa, and this is the site of where they got smoked and embarrassed in the playoffs at Raymond James Stadium against the Bucks. Now, they did beat them in Week 3 last year, rather handily, but in the playoffs, as you know, they were in the midst of their 6 out of 7 losses, and it was awful. Where they now have changed both coordinators. Vic Fangio had a great game plan against the Saints last week. Just phenomenal. Boy, did they shut that zone running game down of the Saints. And now when you look at the Bucks, by the way, they're coming from terrible home loss against the Broncos. They were awful. In fact, they never led in that game. Now, what I find fascinating is, first of all, the line opened up, the number opened up at the Eagles, and we're going to get into their injury situation, which is significant. Their Eagles were -2.5. Okay, now it's down to 1.5. Again, as disclaimer, it always depends on what book you're looking at. But right now, it's about 1.5, and the total is 43.5. The Bucks could not move the ball last week. They only had 7 points. The Eagles couldn't score. So the under is the play there. If you're looking at a number, it's under. Now, why do I say that? Let's get to the Eagles' issues on offense. A.J. Brown has his hamstring injury. Scott, he hasn't practiced in nearly 3 weeks. He got hurt prior to the Atlanta game on a Saturday practice. He's not practiced since then. It's highly unlikely he plays. Tomorrow's the last day of practice. Here's the other problem. Devontae Smith, their other great receiver, making $25 million a year. Unfortunately, had that concussion where he got hit by 2 players, as you saw. So that does worry me a little bit. And then Lane Johnson's got the concussion. So Scott, how in the world are the Eagles a favorite here in this game? On the road.
Yeah, I actually think it's because they're a better team than the Bucs, and I know last year, the playoff, whatever it is, but they looked awful last week, and it was inexplicable to me that Denver kicked their ass that badly at Raymond James.
I know,
and I know they had Miami played South Florida in that stadium the night before, but that field wasn't that bad. I can't explain what happened to them. They took the day off, so obviously they can't be trusted. That's why they're dogs.
Yeah, and by the way, so one thing with Tampa, now this is a concern. Vita Vea, their outstanding defensive tackle, he's got an MCL sprain. Still considered questionable at this point. Their other starting deep tackle, from your school, Pitt, right? Kalijah Kancey, he's not going to play. He's got a calf injury. He's yet to play the season. And Antoine Winfield, one of the best safeties in football, he's not going to play with a sprained foot. Now that is a concern. So you've got defensive injuries for the Bucs. You've got major injuries on offense. In fact, the Eagles right now only have 3 healthy wide receivers. Jahan Dotson, who they acquired right before the start of the season. Johnny Wilson, that 6th rounder. Scott, the 6th rounder out of Florida State, who's been basically a blocking receiver. And Paris Campbell, who's now on their practice squad. They'll add him before the game. So they've got injury issues. But I got to give Jeff Stoutland, the Eagles offensive line coach, credit. They bring in Fred Johnson to play right tackle in the second quarter for Lane Johnson.
Right.
He hasn't started a game in years. And, Mekhi Becton leaves the game with that finger injury. And Tyler Steen does a phenomenal job going in there playing right guard. That was the story of the game. And Vic Fangio went with a 6-man front. He cut off those zone runs. By the way, the Bucs are a zone running team. But it cut off those zone runs for Alvin Kamara, and that stole the game. Although here in Philly, the fans are killing Sirianni for the decisions to go for it, to not go for it, to punt, or not punt. And they didn't even do the tush push on a 4th and 1, which we were surprised with.
Well, I think that the fans are morons, and they're going to hate this guy until they fire him. I mean, they've already turned on him. Like they flipped a pancake last year when they just absolutely imploded and collapsed.
Yep.
The deal is what you had said before. Let's go back to what you said before. To me, the reason is It's not so much that they're better. That was weak. What you said about Tampa's, Vita Vea cannot. There's no reason to play him with a knee sprain in week, 4. To me, you don't play him. And the other defensive liabilities that they have, I would rather have, and you can quote me on this, without Brown and Smith, it's an issue. But these other guys can do the job. If Hurts plays well, he can find guys. These guys are pros. They can make catches. I would much rather have those two out. If I had to pick it, I'd be like, okay, I can live without him for another week. But I cannot live with those 3 defensive stars out for Tampa that are injured. That is their liability. I think that's why they're dogs.
One thing I want to add here. Now, you mentioned the Eagles' injuries, right? They have a bye in week 5, and that obviously will play into what they do. The Bucs had an embarrassing home loss. I mean, they never led in that game against Denver. That shouldn't happen. Denver really not played well before that point. So, yeah, I look, who's the better team if everybody's healthy? Clearly, Philly is. Baker Mayfield was awesome week 1, one of the best games of his career. He's not played at that high level since then. And that defense that Vic Fangio kind of revamped last week, he changed his defensive front. They completely shut down the running game and also Derek Carr. And that, to me, is the difference in this game.
I like Baker Mayfield. I think one of the things I'll institute here is that he got the money. Once you get the money, you don't have to play like a renegade and like when you don't have a contract and you're a journeyman who has moved around, like he's been moving around, like he's got a suitcase packed, he's on a business trip, like you're going to summer camps. This guy, he doesn't have to do that anymore. He knows he's getting that money either way. And I still like him. I think he's a winner. I think he's tough. I think he wants to win in Tampa, but if he loses, so what? He still gets his money. All right, let's move on to the next one, the Vikings and Packers.
Yeah, this is a big one. So this one is in Green Bay. NFC North tilt. The Packers are 2.5, 43.5. The Vikings have been the shock of the year. I mean, who the heck saw them at 3-0? You got to be kidding me. I would think by now they'd be 1-2 or 0-3, but Sam Darnold's been a great story. I know it's only 3 games, but Kevin O'Connell is a quarterback whisperer. He does a phenomenal job of managing his quarterbacks. We forgot J.J. McCarthy got hurt in that preseason game against the Raiders, but Sam Darnold, by the way, speaking of him, now he's got this knee injury. Thankfully, the testing was clean. They expect him to be able to play. The game is scared, but he's going to be good to go. Jordan Addison, their second-year receiver now. He's got an ankle injury. He's missed the last 2 weeks. He's getting close. Jalen Naylor is a guy that's filled in and done a great job. In fact, Naylor scored in each of their 3 games. Now, here's the big story with Jordan Love. As I understand, he's practicing more this week than last week. He's still not taking all the reps. They knew last Friday he wasn't playing, and Malik Willis did a good job. They're not asking Malik Willis to win the game for him. They're not asking him to throw the ball at all, quite frankly. But he's not turning over. He's done a good job. It's real simple. If Jordan Love plays, they're going to win this game. If he doesn't, I do not see Malik Willis being able to beat that Brian Flores defense. Brian Flores, the best defensive coordinator right now in the National Football League.
No edge at all, playing at Lambeau Field, even with Willis, who's done a pretty good job, all things being equal.
Yeah, but they're not asking him to throw. I want to see him beat a great defense. And the Vikings are unbelievable. They bring out something different every week on that side of the football.
Wow. When we come back, I say we start talking about the Chiefs and Chargers.
Yep.
But I want to go back to the Vikings for a minute. At 3-0, and with Sam Darnold playing out of his mind, do you think at the end of the day, at the end of the season, they win that division or not?
No. They're not going to keep this up. I can't see Darnold doing this. Even 12 or 13 games.
But you're telling me how great their defense is. They're just the greatest defense on earth, but they're not going to get it done.
Nope. Defense will carry them only so far.
Wow, that is crazy. All right. Chiefs and Chargers in L.A. We'll talk about that and his 3 favorite plays and bust the cap in your ass all the rest of the spread.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Brew Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Brian Dable has been feeling it. He's in a foul mood. He's having stare downs with Pat Leonard and everything else.
John Mara wants Brian Dable to go and get the next quarterback. They tried to get the next quarterback. We all watched it on Hard Knocks. They couldn't end up with Daniels. They couldn't end up with May. So they said, okay, we'll run it back a year. We'll go get Neighbors, and we'll tolerate.
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
We're talking to Adam Caplan, our NFL insider, and I promised we'd start with the Chiefs and Chargers. As you know, earlier in the show, I wished ill will on the Chiefs, and I already said I got rid of Pacheco. I'm going for more bodies this weekend in Los Angeles so that we can stack injuries and eliminate them from the postseason at some juncture of this year, because I am done with them going to every single effing Super Bowl of my life. I pray for injuries on their team and no other team. And I mean it when I say it. Yeah, whatever. I don't care what you think. I'm sick and tired of the Chiefs. And with the 85 Bears played to injure people. The 70 Steeler curtain played to injure people. If they did that in Philly, you'd finally have Super Bowl trophies like I have.
Well, look, when you look at the Chiefs situation, you just mentioned Pacheco, right? So we know he's out for a while. Carson Steele, this undrafted free agent who they really signed to play fullback, he's now their starting running back. But here's the big move. Kareem Hunt, they didn't elevate him off the practice squad. They actually signed him off there. So he's going to be there a while, and they're going to work him in this week. And the big thing for him is watch him on 3rd down. Good pass protector he could catch. And they need help in their backfield. Now, the Chiefs, in recent years, they own the Chargers. This is my problem with the Chargers. First of all, they don't have a great home field. Justin Herbert with his right high ankle sprain, he's going to play. It's not great. He said he's feeling a little better, but that he's in a boot at times this week. That's a problem. Their offensive line's banged up. Joe Alt's going to be out a while, most likely with a sprain. He's got a sprained knee. Rashawn Slater, their left tackle with his pectoral injury. They don't know if they're going to have him. Trey Pipkins, their former right tackle, he's playing guard now. He's got a foot injury. So they're working with a lot of combinations in practice. This is not good with Steve Spagnuolo, on the other side, the Chiefs D coordinator, and the great Chris Jones at D tackle. There's just the Chargers are in trouble this week.
So I went to see him play, right? And this guy was 10 for 10 in the start of the game. I mean, this guy, Oren Sherbert, can really play, but he's banged up. He's got the high ankle sprain. Someone stepped on his foot, and he left the game. The game was over. When he left the game, they were up 10-7, and then Alt went off the field. Bosa went off. Everyone, I mean, they were falling like flies. It's so funny to me how every team league-wide's got all these injuries, your Eagles, everybody else. But, you know, I say to Chiefs, I wish they had them because they never had problems. They get all the calls in every game. They get all the fumbles, all the picks. It's like God or Jesus, they may both be in on it. Dad and son may be in on the Chiefs' success, and that he actually is a Kansas City fan. I can't figure it out. All right, Thursday night at Snoopy in Cancerville, the Meadowlands. A lot of bodies over there buried.
Yeah, and boy, Dak Prescott owns this team. He owns the Giants. He has not lost them. This is unreal. He's won 12 straight. He hasn't lost to them since his rookie season. He's won 12 in a row, going for, could be lucky, number 13 tonight against those Giants hosting tonight. Now the Giants, Drew Phillips, their nickel corner's out. So watch CeeDee Lamb, who didn't have a great game last week. He's going to line up inside a lot. That's a great advantage for CeeDee Lamb. Now, the one injury I'm concerned about with Dallas is Kalen Carson, the rookie corner, was already starting for Deron Bland. He's out with a shoulder injury. And you saw what Malik Neighbors has done, Scott. He's been unbelievable. Malik Neighbors in the early running for Rookie of the Year, and obviously Jaden Daniels for Washington Commanders. But the Cowboys own them. And by the way, the number is 5.5. The Cowboys are 5.5, and 45 is the total.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to me how. So, are you another one that thinks that the Giants have absolutely no chance whatsoever tonight, and that the game should be canceled? I heard we've been talking about it all week. How every big shot TV guy that makes too much money has picked the Cowboys automatic. Shouldn't even play the game.
Well, you can't trust but here's the problem: the Giants are awful. They've lost 12 in a row against the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys, they're terrible at home. It's obvious. That's 3 straight going back to the playoffs where they've given up over 110 points. They're not exactly great on the road, but sometimes, I'm talking to players over the years and coaches, sometimes you just got to get away. For whatever reason, you can't win at home. And on a short week, by the way, this is probably a good thing for the Cowboys to get away. I do like the Cowboys in the game.
Caplan's 3 favorite picks before he slips into his bust-a-cap spread picks. What are your 3 favorites as Adam Caplan, the sophisticated blazer-wearing insider?
All right, I like the Texans at home over the Jaguars -6. It's real simple. Jaguars, one of the worst teams in football. They're struggling. Offense is pathetic. Their best corner, Tyson Cable's on IR. Josh Allen destroyed them. That was an embarrassment. They're going to be on the road again. They've shown no hope and no heart. Texans easy over the Jaguars.
All right, your second favorite.
Jets were awesome last week. I get it, the Broncos. The Broncos are going to do it 2.5. They're not going to do it 2 weeks in a row. I like the Jets at home, -7.5.
All right, and quickly, the third favorite Caplan play.
Your Steelers, I underestimated them last week. I like them on the road at the Colts. The Colts are very inconsistent. Richardson, the quarterback, is not playing well, and he's playing a great defense this week. I like your Steelers -1.5.
All right, 90 seconds to hit bust a cap in your ass. Sure. Saints, Falcons. Falcons laying 2.5 at the Benz.
Like the Falcons.
Cincinnati at Carolina laying 4.5.
The Bengals can't go 0-4. I like the Bengals. And the Andy Dalton ball.
Well, they said they couldn't go 0-3, and how'd that work out?
Yeah, exactly.
Rams at Bears. Bears laying 3.
Like the Bears against the beat-up Rams.
Yeah, the beat-up Rams who were down 14 and still beat the Niners. They're so beat up, they're awful. All they do is win. Minnesota at Green Bay. Green Bay laying 2.5 at Lambeau. I take it you're on the Vikings.
Well, if Love does not play, I love the Vikings. Let's put it that way. If Love plays, I'm on the other side.
All right, Philly at Tampa at Raymond James. Tampa getting 1.5.
I keep picking against the Eagles, and they burn me, but I do like the Eagles a little bit this week. That's where my lean would be.
Washington at Arizona. Arizona laying 3.5.
Like the Cardinals in this one.
New England at San Francisco. Niners laying 10.5.
Yeah, Niners, that's a big number, but Niners are going to take care of it. I am worried about their injuries, and the Patriots are starting to fall off.
All right, Cleveland at Vegas. Vegas laying 2.
Like the Raiders, the Browns their offensive line's beat up, and their quarterback's playing poorly.
Kansas City laying 7 at the Chargers.
Like the Chiefs in this one.
And finally, Sunday night, the game of the week, Bills at Ravens in the Charm City, and Buffalo getting 2.5.
I like the Bills. I am on them. They're playing great football. Great coaching, by the way. The Ravens almost choked last week, Scott. Almost.
I watched that game. They got it done. A win's a win's a win. Always exciting with Adam Caplan.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoff.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Brew Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Brian Dable has been feeling it. He's in a foul mood. He's having stare downs with Pat Leonard and everything else.
John Mara wants Brian Dable to go and get the next quarterback. They tried to get the next quarterback. We all watched it on Hard Knocks. They couldn't end up with Daniels. They couldn't end up with May. So they said, okay, we'll run it back a year. We'll go get Neighbors, and we'll tolerate.
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Wow, the USA 5-0 today in the President's Cup in Montreal, Quebec, over the international team. They won those last 2 matches, Carver High, and cleaned up. And I know you've got your thoughts on that and leftovers.
Yeah, Keegan Bradley on 18, Scotty, hit a bomb of a putt to secure the 5th and final point of the day for the United States.
That's
so
my
a clean
dude.
sweep in day number 1. Tomorrow, 5 more matches. Tomorrow will be alternate shot back and forth with your partner. Let's just say, Scotty, the international team, they got some work to do against the United States tomorrow up there at Royal Montreal. Indeed. All right, here we go. Leftover time for you with plenty of NBA news, actually, in the leftovers today. Kevin Knox. Yes, Kevin Knox, still in the NBA, has agreed to a 1-year deal.
He should be playing with me tomorrow morning.
With the Warriors.
My foot tendon injury.
Derrick Rose retires after 15 seasons in the NBA. We love D. Rose.
He was a
We're
baller.
going to miss him in here. Baller and another one of those guys. What could have been, right? With the injuries early in his career. What could have been for Derrick Rose?
He still got
that's
MVPs.
for sure.
The guy was a badass.
Yes, he does. Sure was. Absolute badass. WNBA playoffs last night. The Connecticut Sun eliminated the Indiana Fever, so we will not see Caitlin Clark again until April. As she said last night, I'm not playing any basketball for a few months. I'm going to go golf. I don't blame her either. Go get away from it all for a while. She's had herself quite the year. She was the first rookie in WNBA history, 25-5-5 game, even though they did lose. So the Sun win, and Minnesota beat Phoenix, so bye-bye to Taurasi as well. Connecticut will play Minnesota. Vegas will play the Liberty. Both of those game 1s will be Sunday, Scotty. Again, they're starting up against the NFL. Now, they told you this week how great the ratings were. Clark was in the game in the afternoon against the NFL. I want to see them this week when they don't have Clark in the game up against the NFL. So there you go with the WNBA. And one more thing I'll give you before I turn it over for the rest of the stuff. Final game at the Dump in Oakland. They go to the 9th. The A's are up 3-2, trying to win the last game at the Ashtray. I saw they had Ricky and Dave Stewart out on the field before. Ghosts of Oakland past, saying goodbye to the place. We'll miss it. No, we really won't. But the Dump is finished in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I want to see what their ratings are, the WNBA, without Caitlin Clark playing in the semis. And I still think, believe it or not, it doesn't do them any good to have the 4 best teams all sweep. And it's just too easy. And it's just not that good. That game was good until the last 5 minutes. And when it was money time, they beat her ass. And you can have 50 points in a game. If you don't win, your season's over, you lose. That's all there is to it. You can have all the numbers you want. If you don't win, you lose. That's it. Simple as that. I like the Liberty and the Lynx, believe it or not, in semis. And we'll see how it turns out. As far as the Ferrall finish, UFC has a $375 million deal, a settlement in a suit. Again, all these fighters sued him, antitrust lawsuit. It's above everyone's pay grade, but the UFC giving out $375 million. They lost the case. Vince McMahon slams a new Netflix documentary about him as deceptive. Speaking of deceptive, Vince McMahon, this guy, I mean, he's another one. I mean, honestly, having that guy complain about something done about him on video is the funniest thing I've ever heard. I mean, he literally is Satan. Former Vikings quarterback Tommy Kramer goes public with his dementia diagnosis. I mean, that stuff is just awful. I've been around it. It is so awful. There's nothing you can do except watch the rapid decline of your loved ones. Mayor Eric Adams of New York City indicted on federal criminal charges. Let's get down to it. He is a guy that accepts bribes from Turkish nationals for 12 years in a row. I mean, they paid all of his bills. He is as corrupt as anything you've ever seen in politics. And the guy goes out with all these like leaders and from all over the world, all these, brothers standing behind him that he's so honest. He is such a liar. He said that everyone's lying but him. Whenever someone says everyone's a liar but me, he's the liar. He is finished in New York City. What a thief he is, this guy. Staying in giant suites in the finest hotels in the world, flying in first class, and all of it paid for by Turkish people that are corrupt as hell. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. That's going to be a movie soon enough. Here's a guy, Texas husband, kills his wife and 2 kids after he got arrested for domestic violence. They let him out, and he went over and finished them all off. ETD is next. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on the Coast to Coast.
To be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The Early Line, only on